Welcome back to Bust Picks, episode 13.
Yeah.
I am your host, Dio Reynoso.
How we doing, Don Behan?
And Don, I think... So, we're a gambling show. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, we like to bet.
There is no one on the planet hotter at gambling than you are in the past 5 days.
I've been hot.
It feels like since Thanksgiving, you've been the hottest man ever to grace the
Because
gambling
I've just gotten
market.
very aggressive. I wish it translated to a lot of the more picks we're doing on the show. It's a lot of, for those of you who don't know, I do a lot of international tennis.
Yeah.
So I'll go through like daily spreads the night before, check what the games are, then live bet what I miss or put down some odds beforehand. I've just gotten aggressive and it's worked out well. This will all come crashing down on me and I'm just waiting for the day.
Professional Vegas gamblers say you go heavy units. If you miss, you stay with your heavy units instead of doubling down.
Yeah.
That's how you make the money.
Yeah, I had a few units that terrified me when after I hit like hit to bet it.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? We roll. It's the payout's worth it.
It's been fantastic. Don, give me a fact though.
Fact of the day. So, there's a sport that was founded outside of London. Their company's headquartered, like the overall parenting governing body, is out of Germany. Big in Europe and the Baltic states. Called the World Chess Boxing Organization.
Chess boxing?
Chess boxing.
What is chess boxing?
So it's a 60
Wait, can I give you what I think?
Yeah, let's hear it. It was invented in the 1970s, if that helps.
I think chess boxing is every time you move a piece, you have to hit the clock, and then you get to slap the other person.
Close.
With a glove, like with a big comical glove, like one of those big, bah, and then like as quickly as you recover, you're now on the clock, and you got to make another move while being a little concussed.
Kind of close.
Wow.
So what it is it's a normal boxing match when you have the 12 rounds. Every other round, you go and play speed chess. So one round is spent in the boxing ring, and then there's a chessboard set up right outside. So you box for a round, and then you play chess game for a round. And then you put pause when the round's over, go back in the boxing ring. And you switch between the two sports until either someone's checkmated or someone's knocked out.
Now, what is stopping an elite boxer from just going in here and being like, I'm going to wreck these nerds?
That's the point.
Gotcha.
But if you can't beat them in the first round,
then you're dead.
You're dead in
What
chess.
if you just defense your way into the chess game?
And then, but that's the thing is, you have some of these guys that are just elite chess players
true.
who are like, if I could
Savants.
just survive 5 minutes in the ring,
Yeah.
I could dominate.
What do you think
immediately.
you'd be better in that game? You think you'd last longer in the ring or in the chessboard?
Chessboard for me.
I think I'm
yeah.
dead both ways. I think I'm staying alive way longer in the ring. Way longer.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
You can move around and you could be free a little bit more.
I mean, I'll definitely throw up, but they're just pure Joshin.
But it was shouted out by Wu-Tang Clan in 36 Chambers. They have a song called "The Mystery of the Chess Box." Chess boxing.
love Wu-Tang. I love that album. I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah,
that's like a classic song. Yeah.
It's a really odd one.
fault.
Yeah.
Speaking about odd ones, my question of the day. Me and you got in a little,
I can't believe this is real.
argument, and we called a full audible on the question of the day. Today's question of the day is: what is your starting 5 women of all time? Your starting 5 women of all time.
Dude, this worries me so much.
We're not allowed to pick professional athletes. That's the caveat.
So we're picking women through history.
Correct. It has to be a
And
point
then-
guard.
And we're fitting them somehow. So
It has to be a starting 5.
a starting 5 NBA
Yeah,
team.
and it'll be judged off of playability, like how well they play on the court, and how important the women are in history.
Okay. This
All
is
right.
a very interesting one.
Now,
but all
you've
right.
had time, about, 30 seconds to come up with a list. I'm
off the
going
top.
off the fly. I have some I have some girls in mind. And I'm gonna go with the first pick.
Sure.
You can't take my pick.
Okay.
I'm going Michelle Obama at power forward.
Solid woman of the year.
Strong arms, out rebounds. She should be president soon. Lock it in.
Be interesting. I don't know if she's going to run. I think her and Barack are enjoying their retirement too much.
Negative.
The book tours.
I don't think she's got a lot of speed, but I feel like she has a lot of strength. She can out rebound. She can box people out. On top of that, fantastic person. But another negative politically, she ruined school lunches for me and my entire generation. Don, what's your next pick?
We're going to go with a small forward. I'm taking Lucille Ball. Like,
she can really do it all.
yeah, she can really do it all. She's a glue guy there. she has very good physical comedy, so she's athletic.
She knows how to bounce around and play with a lot of people.
Exactly.
She can sling the rock,
She could fit into a lot of different conversations, a lot of different personas around. She's kind of that glue piece.
Not too small either. She's big too. Like, she's a small forward, but she can get gritty.
Yeah,
she can get in there. She's not afraid to get her hands dirty.
Yeah.
But she also comes back. She can make a splash play.
Yeah,
that's a great pick. That's a great pick. Like I said, off the top, I'm going to go with Cleopatra at my point guard. I want someone who can delegate. Actually, no, you can have Cleopatra.
No, that's okay.
I'll take Queen Elizabeth. I'll take Queen Elizabeth as my point guard.
Okay.
She knows how to delegate. She knows how to run a country. She's an important figure in history, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
I want prime Queen Elizabeth. I don't want this retired one. I don't want the one that's like the LeBron era where she's like super old. I still want her mobility. I still want her to be able to kill thousands and thousands of people. Like, that's the person I'm going after. Don, what's your next pick?
If we're doing royalty, we're doing delegation there. We're taking that kind of mindset. I want my point guard being Catherine the Great of Russia.
I don't know who Catherine the Great is.
That's okay. That
could have been your last pick.
That could have been. Well, no, I have some deep ones. No, like, I'm going deep in my bag right here. But no, I'm taking her as a point guard, definitely for the same leadership qualities there. Basically turned around the Russian economy, revolutionized the idea of being a female ruler, without a doubt. And she was also, because of Russian monarchy at the time, you had to be able to ride horses, you had to be able to go trekking, you had to prove, even more so in her case, kind of a man sport early in her years. So she was very physically active.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I wish I could give you more insight on her. I don't really know. This is kind of a deep round European prospect.
Yes.
Euro players are really big in the league right now.
Hey,
that's why
they're getting it done.
My next pick is also a Euro leaguer. It's Angela Merkel. She's I know, another political leader. We're going back to back political leaders.
Okay.
To take a country and bring it back to the level that Germany's at right now. Shout out to Angela Merkel. That's my girl. She's going to play shooting guard. I got two demons in my front court.
Okay. For me, I'm taking...
This is the weirdest thing we've ever done on the show. This is the most
insane...
I can't wait to clip this. Go.
This feels weird. I just don't feel comfortable with this.
Give me your last two picks.
So I'm taking Julie Diabring, French woman in the 1700s, was known for just an absolute insane life, coming out of poverty, would cross-dress as a man, became one of the best sword fighters in the entire country at the time, to the point where she was pardoned by the king twice for her sense of humor and her skill with the sword.
That's fire.
Also was one of the first ever publicly open lesbian women. So we're getting the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah.
You get a very diverse skill set out of this woman, and a very diverse fan base she could bring to the roster.
That's a fantastic roster you're building right now. I'm going to the center.
Okay.
I'm going to take someone that is a cornerstone in the comedic world.
Okay.
Someone that I've looked up. I'm going with Sarah Silverman. She's fantastic.
All right.
She looks like she'll get gritty. She's going to be my small forward. I was going to say center, but she can move around a lot. I love her. I like what she's done. I know she's not huge. I think she's in a new movie where she's going to be seen as a huge actress. The Composer movie. Lock her in.
I can't wait for her in that role.
Yeah, she's going to be awesome. Yeah.
I'm taking my shooting guard now. I'm taking Ada Lovelace.
That Ada Lovelace sounds like a absolute 3-point specialist name,
because you need that kind of analytical mind. I feel you need to have that killer instinct. Was the first computer programmer in 1852. She was a mathematician as well as a writer.
I gave you 30 seconds of prep time, which really means you knew most of these women off the top of the dome.
Yeah,
which is the most important part of all this. That's crazy.
Well, okay, my background is in engineering, so you learn about her in a lot of I feel in a lot of coursework, and I'm a history nerd. But no, foresaw the analytical machine. It has a very bright mind. Was invented a lot of the basics of coding languages, and saw the idea of not just a computational machine, but further programming to what we see as a modern computer today.
My last pick is going to be Secretariat. A little controversial. Yes, I'm picking a horse.
We're doing Airbud rules in this too.
It's a female horse, and I waited to use this as the last pick. Yes, it's Airbud rules. the most dominant athlete of all time, as we all know. Secretariat, that's my center in the starting 5 women draft. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Let's move on to our next segment. It is called Secret Santa.
Okay.
Don, it's the holidays. It's our holiday episode.
We're a few days outside of Christmas right now.
We're gonna go through. We're gonna see who gets a present, what events, what things happen this year that deserve a present, and what things disappointed us and they're getting cold. What's getting cold? What's getting a present? Don, what's the first thing getting a present for you? Well, who's getting a gift?
For me, I'm giving it to sports announcers.
Holy shit, that is sports announcers. Okay.
Because this year has been such a big dichotomy, and you've seen like the Joe Buck, the Troy Aikman, which I absolutely use.
What's that first Cole say?
First Cole is also that's why.
Okay.
This is why.
My first Cole is commentators and sports announcers.
Because to me, this year has been the separation of what is a good sports announcer versus the classic who, like the Al Michaels, the Vince Scully's, who brought you into the sport even more. And
it's almost like the passing of the baton.
It feels like a transition year, and it's made me more grateful for the guys I grew up listening to. Like hearing the John Madden replay calls of just him breaking down games and the fun he would bring in.
Genuine kids like John Madden, Al Michaels, these are guys that we were listening to at every game. Like Vince Scully, I'm a Dodger fan, but I have vivid memories of just his voice playing in the back of my head. I know a lot of Dodger fans and a lot of people that watched baseball do.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we have those voices anymore.
It feels very lacking. I think there's a handful that are still kind of there. Like the Manning cast is a lot of fun. I enjoy the Manning cast.
I like the Manning cast.
But it doesn't feel like sports commentating at all.
So here's where I'm at.
Yes.
I'm giving it cold to like the play-by-play announcers and the color commentators. I have started muting those. I understand they give fun insight.
Sometimes, and that's why I'm grateful for the greats.
I am way more into live streaming now.
Okay.
I like watching other people react. Personalities that I like. People on Twitch, on Twitter that I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to get from these guys. They're diehard fans. I'm watching them react to their teams and live and die with them, and I'm going through Twitter. That is the new like sports commentating for me. And yes, the Manning cast is fun, and there were some moments in the Pat McAfee live football shows.
I'm a fan of when Romo talks, because he actually says like, hey, this is the actual mindset I would have in this scenario.
I've grown tired of Romo. He's like he's the main lump of coal for me. The thing is, like, I like Kurt Warner a lot. Kurt Warner, I think, is going to be really fun in the next coming years.
I'm hoping Sean Payton. I haven't really heard him too much outside of like NFL game day morning, some college breakdown stuff.
Payton.
Yeah.
Sean Payton's the head coach of the Broncos right now.
Yeah, but when he took the year off from the Saints, he did some media tour. And when he retires, he has a media deal basically waiting for him. I can't wait to hear him more in a play-by-play call.
I think we're about to get Bill Belichick in the play-by-play, not play-by-play, but like in the circuit,
in the breakdowns.
The breakdowns, and like I think we're going to see Bill Belichick not coaching next year, but possibly on TV, and I think he's going to be electric because every time he's not like forced to be in front of a camera and he's like there out of his own fruition, he is so much fun.
He lights up, and just his mind, I would love to learn from him.
I'm going to give you one of my gifts. My gift is good backup quarterbacks.
Ooh.
Last year, a lot of people were saying, like, this is the year of backup quarterbacks. I think we're in the era of backup quarterbacks. I think we're about to enter an age where if you don't have a great backup quarterback, it's almost like, what do you do? It's like not having good pitching rotation. I think you
need the depth more and more.
I think the depth is going to become a very big thing. I think trading for backup quarterbacks is going to be massive. Just competency. Guys that are maybe not competing for a starting job, but guys that can, like, if someone goes down, as a Colts fan, Anthony Richardson went down, Gardner Minshew stepped up. We're here. Jake Browning, he's here. Like, this was a year. You could say all you want about Zach Wilson. They are winning. They won games because he was able to step up and win.
Yeah.
Tim Boyle being your backup would have been awful. They would not have won as much as they did this year.
No, they'd be in a rough spot. You're seeing that live with the Falcons. Kansas side is basically, you're having that controversy of like, what is Heineke to us versus what is Ritter?
Yeah, and they're like, we're going to start Heineke. Why not?
Yeah, that just puts you in a very tough position.
The Raiders have been playing with the backup quarterback all year.
Yeah.
Because they sat Jimmy, and now he's the starter. This is the year of the backup quarterbacks.
We've seen trades for backup quarterbacks and moves for backup quarterbacks.
Josh Dobbs. Like, whether there's franchise starters, not the point. The point is competency. The point is having hope. There's nothing worse than watching your team on a Sunday and being, man, this game's going to suck.
Yeah.
But when you turn on a Monday night game and your backup quarterback throws a game-winning touchdown against the Super Bowl opposing team, the Eagles, that is a huge boost.
Yes.
And that makes you say, man, backup quarterbacks are fantastic.
Rallies the fan base.
You get a gift. Don, give me another gift.
Mine is my other one. I'm very grateful is the anticipation of a new season or a new event.
Everything.
Like it's everything. Like the in-season tournament, the hype building up. Like uncertainty was great. Like the coming into NHL season and with going in this season, and same with basketball. Or right now, what we see in baseball with the idea of like Ohtani, we're seeing Juan Soto move. We're seeing all Glass now. We're seeing all these big trades and moves, and it's just building anticipation because you still have
Can I tell you
hope.
something?
Yeah.
I think I might like the hype more than I like the actual game.
'Cause-
my favorite part of the NFL season is like the draft.
Because you have hope still for the year.
Everyone won the league
everything's-
except for like 4 people. Like
Yeah.
it's the best.
It's the greatest
Yeah.
feeling, and I think that is something as I'm appreciating more. 'Cause
Yeah,
it
the
used
journey.
to be it's the journey. It's the story of your team and how they got there. It's a sort of, and I'm enjoying that more and more.
Now,
I'm
are you
finding.
saying that because you're like, all right, I got to enjoy what the Ravens are doing right now because if they don't win the Super Bowl, I have to like, you're already
'cause
starting to break it
even
down
this
for yourself?
No, because even this season, like the beginning of the year with like the Lamar Jackson trade,
Yeah.
or not trade talks, but this contract talks.
Oh, that was stressful. That was a few months
stressful.
ago.
But yeah, it was just a few months ago. But like, I was more bought in that moment than on just an average Thursday night
Yeah.
game.
I
Like,
hear you.
and it's just like you're checking news a lot more. You're updating more, versus, and it's just a different mindset.
It is amazing. My other gift is going to be the in-season tournament, the NBA. Tried something new, and
It worked.
It worked.
It went very well.
I think it's going to stick. This is a conversation me and you had. I think in 40, 50 years, I think the in-season tournament is going to be what Daytona 500 or the Indianapolis 500 is
Yeah.
to NASCAR. It's the kickoff of the season. It's going to mean a lot. It's not meaning more than the finals, but it's going to mean something. I think people are going to talk about the in-season tournament in about 40, 50 years the same way people talk about when the AFL and the NFC combined and made the Super Bowl era. There's a before and after, and I think right now we're living through an age and time where we can look back and say that's when the sport changed. That's when something significant happened. Or I could be wrong and it's gone in 5 years.
No, I could see it as well though with the in-season tournament because that's a very popular thing in college basketball. Is you have all these in-season tournament and it makes the season mean more.
Yeah.
And I think it's coming at the right time where you have the idea of these stars resting mid-season. You have a lot of rule changes about how you're allowed to rest players, rest your stars.
Dude, it was
And
electric.
It forces these teams to buy in, and you have to, are we playoff ready? It's a good gut check to see where your team ranks up.
Absolutely.
Right in the beginning of the season. I love the idea of it.
I like it. I'm going to do another gift. My
Sure.
gift is the MLB pitch clock. I was really against it at first because I love going to Dodger games. It's my favorite sporting event to go to next to hockey. I love going to baseball games. I like wasting 4 hours and watching it happen. So I was mad when they pretty much took that away from me. It's a better product.
It is. It's so much of a better product.
It's so much fun. Baseball is getting a second life, and I know people are like, baseball's boring. If it's so boring, why was everyone talking about so much Shohei Ohtani and Juan? So this is the most MLB offseason talk we've gotten in a very long time.
Yeah.
In the middle of the NFL season. That
Yeah.
should tell you that there is a fever pitch and starting to get a new love for the MLB, and I love it. I love Manfred. I know a lot of people don't like him. He's a good commissioner, probably the best in sports.
I think he's one of the better
Yeah.
ones. No, I love the pitch clock bringing in because like the game was trending to be longer. Like in the last 30, 40 years, they've added nearly an hour in game length. And so you needed something to rein that in because the game, like the innings didn't change. The outs didn't change. None of the format. It was just, it took so long in between batters. And it like the speeding up to me, it reduced a lot of the excess fat and it brought more excitement back in.
Do you think that the longevity of the game was solely based on people that aren't on the West Coast? Because as a West Coast guy, games don't last till 10 o'clock for us. Games like the latest games will end is like 10:30. While on the East Coast, they'll have games that end at 1 in the morning. Like they will have long games that they get in overtime or extra innings. Like we don't touch that.
it's a very rare. Well, we also do.
Do you think that's why the pitch clock was kind of like becoming a thing, or like people were complaining about?
No, because they were averaging. It was the longevity in the games because you were averaging close to a minute 30 per pitch.
It was crazy,
and it was just you in a 4-hour game. You get 35 minutes of actual action. It was just it just became egregious when you look at the numbers and why it started escalating.
I guess I just liked being drunk at baseball games.
I miss that though, because like you would show up, like if you show up right in the first inning, the game flies by when you're there live.
Yeah, it's awesome. Don, do you have any more gifts?
A little bit based on what you're saying.
Okay.
To me, it's just attending live sports again.
Amazing.
Like going without that for the 2-3 years we were forced to was shut down and locked down. Last year we've been able to go to a lot more games, either together or solo, and I found a love for even just attending games that, like, say if it's not really a sport that I follow in a big way or a team that I'm not emotionally invested into, just being in the live game environment is just something like it. There's no other feeling like it.
Just a fact, Don, did you buy tickets to a Division II college women's basketball game?
I did.
That's a fact.
I
Okay,
did.
that's
No,
the end of that.
we went to Mountain West one. I've gone like I'm not a Dodgers fan the same way I'm a Yankees fan. I go to Dodger games just because that's the local team and it's easy to go to those games.
Yep.
But that's even hockey. I've gone to minor league soccer games. And it's just like the excitement and the fan energy around it.
I have a friend who went to the Rams game last Sunday.
Yeah.
The Kings game tonight. They're going to the Rams game on Thursday. And then they're flying to Chicago to go to see the Chicago Bears and the Cardinals game on Sunday. If that's not a gift, I don't know what is.
That and just the ability to do that again has just been such like it's reinvigorated a lot of passion.
It's awesome. I have a couple calls.
Yeah, we got. Yeah. Can't all be positive sometimes.
My calls is the Detroit Pistons.
Okay.
I want to give this entire. I was so excited to see Detroit become a team that I would have even said they sneak into the playoffs before the season started. I was like, man, they got something cooking with Ivy, and they got the Thompson brother, and they got Cade. They got like real, Jalen Durden like is a legit center. They're building something. They got a great coach. They lost 18 straight games. I think they're 2-25 right now.
Rough slide.
They're one of the worst basketball teams I've ever seen.
Yeah.
If there's not anything they've disappointed me on a level that like I'm just like, all right, and I'm a Lakers fan. It's not like I'm a Detroit Pistons fan, but I do like to see young teams and markets that aren't as popularized blow up and have moments, because that's what basketball's all about. These seasons, these beam teams like the Kings last year, these moments where you're like, wow.
They can make a run.
This is a significant team in the time of our sports franchise.
Yeah,
and I thought this was going to be a year for the Pistons, and just wasn't.
There's something just not clicking because you have so much talent. There is that. I think that's unquestionable.
Losing 18 straight doesn't say talent,
but to me it says that there's something fundamentally wrong with either how the team is meshing or how they're being coached. Because there's to me, what a great coach does is change the play style to best fit the players you have and bring out their best talent.
Yeah.
It feels like there has been no adjustments yet.
Yeah.
And that's what's worrying me about this roster the most.
Don, give me a call.
My first call is something we've talked about recently a little bit. Mine is the BCS standings.
Yeah,
No, I'm getting on my soapbox on this. Well, just because it feels that...
Slay King, go.
Okay. No, it's because it's voted on by sports writers and coaches that don't watch every single game. It's 100% subjective, so it turns into a popularity contest way too quickly. And there's no true analytics or actual performance by the team that directly influences
strength of schedule is like a big analytic that they...
But it's subjective because they don't actually take the true strength of schedule at the end of the season. It's what they interpret the strength of schedule is per team
based on ranked teams and record, which is like,
but
yes, they set the rankings.
They set the ranking, so it's like, well, let's set the ranking, and then based on our opinion of what the ranking is going to be our opinion of who had the harder schedule.
Correct.
And it's a messy thing, and it just feels like too quickly it turns into a popularity contest. So if the team has 2 losses, they're considered out, but if they have the hardest schedule, it doesn't matter.
In a world of sports where everything is, I guess, quote unquote fair, and everything's based on how you can
Because a team could literally have the best season they've ever had
And not get in.
and still be punished.
Which is
for it
why I
somehow.
love it. I love that they're just like, while every sport in all of history is like, no, you win, you're in.
Yes.
College football spits in the face of God and says, we're going to do whatever we want. Oh, you don't like it? Well, then don't watch. Oh, you're still going to watch? That's what we thought. And I love it.
I hate that so much. I despise that fact.
Yeah.
So much, especially in a world where we can calculate a lot of these different aspects that make this job basically automated.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like,
I mean,
there
it
would be-
was automated. That was the BCS. A robot pretty much put together who was going to play in the national championship every year, and that sucked. That sucked.
But it would make it's a lot more fair.
Sure, I guess
It's the best teams playing the best
equivalent
teams.
of flipping a coin. I guess. Sure. Since we're in college, I'm gonna do my last coal. Then we'll run through your two coals.
Sure.
I'll make mine quick. I've talked about this guy enough. Ryan Day.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. It's called beating a dead horse. Guess who's about to beat it again? Ryan Day. You disappoint me. I will never let it go. Here's your coal. I hope you chew on it until all your teeth break. You made me become a hateful, hateful man to a school I genuinely enjoyed, Ohio State. You suck, and I hope you get fired. Don, you're up.
So for my last two, the first one I'm taking is TV timeouts in sports. Just despise it.
Did they add like 17 more a week?
It feels like they're elongating the commercials. Everything on the field already has branding. Even the stadium has branding. The jerseys have branding.
On top of like referee like stoppages and TV timeouts, I know we're sounding old as dirt right now. These games are getting hard too. I've been trying to watch the Bahamas Bowl or other bowl games, and it's getting tough.
It's difficult. Like I would even take, because I know NBA does this sometimes for primetime games. They do it at least, and wrestling does it.
Yeah.
Is the side by side? I'll even take that.
I'll take that, even if it's a smaller one.
I'll take it
I'll
because
take it 'cause
I don't want the break from the action. I
sure.
need it. I understand. Like in hockey, you need to wipe down the ice real quick.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Having a set timeout in that way, but basically between every play, you're going to run a quick ad in football, or there's a just a small timeout that like a stoppage of the game in basketball that neither team called, neither team requested, but it's time to run an ad to pay for our sponsors. It's like, what are you doing? You're taking away from the sport. Like you said, it becomes more difficult to actually watch the game in that case, and you're going to lose viewers if you keep pushing it.
Sure.
Like it's a gross thing they keep trying to force.
Gross thing. Don, what's your last call?
My last one is hot take shows.
What?
Like the Stephen A. Smith, the Skip Bayless.
Don, this is your best call.
Like, because I don't mind shows that if you have a hot take and you say it.
Yeah.
Because it's your opinion and it's something that you believe.
But shows that are forced to pin people together and shoot out things that they probably don't believe in every single day for ratings.
It just
Dead.
becomes noise.
I hate those
They
shows.
are terrible.
And I think like the general public is like, we don't care about Skip anymore.
No,
I don't think
no one does.
Stephen A's popping, but now like Stephen A's no longer really doing those debate shows, and he's more like just talking about the women that he likes to mess with, or like,
Which is just creepy.
I
but
kind of
yeah.
love the pivot. I kind of like that he's like, I'm full on old man. Like I love
But
it.
they've even been like on the former NBA players and guys that they've interviewed. Like he's just an idiot.
Yeah, yeah, he's a wild man.
He's a wild guy. But it's like those kinds of shows. I feel they don't add anything.
I think they're dying.
I hope they die quicker
I'm
because they
with you.
need to get off the air completely.
Big Cole, great Cole, Don. You were being a good Santa this week. Let's move on to Gambling Ring. We got a couple games we're going to talk about. A lot more primetime games, and I have to pick one game. It's not primetime because that's how we roll.
Yeah.
Let's go with the Saints versus Rams Thursday night football. Rams coming off,
They've been doing well. They've been doing well ever since their bye week. They've been kind of hot.
they lost to the Ravens. They won last week.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to like the Saints here, right? Like the Rams are favorites, but like you look at the line, you're like 4.5. This smells fishy. There shouldn't be something I like here. What do you like here?
To me, I like the Rams minus 4.5. Personally, the one I'm putting most units on is the under 46. on this game.
That's another thing. I was like, why is the over so high?
Because I don't trust the Saints. The Saints are 21st in red zone percentage, and they are 1-5 this season against teams over 500. The Saints do not perform well when they are playing more difficult teams. And I just feel the Rams, since their bye week, they've had a sense of urgency to the team. The defense has stepped up in a big way.
Stafford's been slinging it.
Stafford's been great. And Williams brings a whole nother dimension to the game. Like, I don't understand. Like, when he was coming in the draft, like, people were dismissing him already, going like, he's third percentile fastest. It's like game speed versus 40 time is completely different.
I drafted in my dynasty league last year with my last pick in the 3rd round.
Yes, it's a steal at that point. You got a steal for this man.
He didn't play last year. I was like, this guy should have been on the roster. Out of nowhere, he comes passing Cam Akers almost immediately.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, Kyron is this guy. I don't know if Kyron's going to have the job next year. I'll be honest. That's just what happens to running backs. But for right now, I love what Kyron's doing. I love what this offense is doing. You're right, Don. Why am I betting on the Saints organization? Yeah, I know they're fighting for this division, but I don't want to watch. I don't want to bet on them. Remember,
they're fighting for the worst division in football.
Actually, they might get into playoffs without winning the division because that's how bad the NFC is.
The NFC is just awful right now. But I don't trust any team in that division whatsoever to like face a winning opponent who's trying to force their way in.
I like the Bucks.
I don't even trust the Bucks. If you take any team that is, say, 9 wins right now, do you think the Bucks have a good shot? Any 9-win team in the entire league?
I think the Bucks can beat the Colts. I mean, I know the Colts beat the Bucks, but I think.
But would you be confident going into that game, going the Bucks get this win?
Yes. I think the Bucks can beat the Bengals.
I don't even trust them on that.
I think they can beat the Bengals. I think their defense has stepped up. Vita Vea is coming back.
Their secondary is injured to hell, though.
Yeah,
they could get torched if you have the weapons. And the Bengals do.
Playing at an elite level. Like, I think people are really sleeping on how Baker's about to get paid. Baker's has shown like, hey, you put the pieces around me, I can win some games.
If you have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin
and Rashad White and a really good offensive line, I get that. But like,
who's his worst weapon? Cade Otton?
But
who's still average?
How come we're allowed to crucify Baker Mayfield for having weapons, but we can't say the same thing about Brock Purdy?
Oh no, because Brock Purdy I recognize he's a game manager.
But why can't we praise Baker Mayfield for being a good game manager?
Baker's having a
worst head coach.
Baker's having a great season,
but he's not getting MVP.
He's not sustainable.
But he's not getting the MVP nods that a Brock Purdy's getting.
Because his early season was terrible, though.
But he's played to a point where his team, a team that some people would say was one of the worst teams in the league, possible last place team. I was one of those people.
Yeah.
Is now winning their division and winning games, like good games.
I got to look at the Bucks the rest of the season real quick because I just
we're not even talking about the Bucks today.
No,
Rams minus 4.5 is the bet for me.
Yeah, I'm taking the under 46.
While you're looking that up, let's go. Bengals versus Steelers Saturday game. Look, Steelers should have beat the Colts.
I don't like the Bucks schedule.
What is it? Read me the Bucks schedule.
Jacksonville this week, Saints, Panthers. They're making playoffs. They're making playoffs.
We're not talking about the Jacksonville
because all they need is one win there.
Let's just talk about it. The Jacksonville Jaguars aren't going to win that division. Jacksonville Jaguars are not winning that division. It's the Indianapolis Colts are winning that division. The Indianapolis Colts are about to win 3 straight games. They're going to beat the Falcons, they're going to beat the Raiders, and they're going to beat the Texans. We're winning that damn division.
You're drinking full on into the hope. I love it. I'm
in, and I don't care where. I just don't want to play Miami. I'll play Baltimore. I'll play Kansas City. I'll play anyone else. I don't want to play Miami.
Miami's scary. All right, let's get into the second matchup.
All right. Bengals versus Steelers Saturday. Steelers 13-0, beating the Colts. Colts come back, score 30 straight points. Amazing game. That's a game we should have lost. That's a game where Mike Tomlin wins every single time. And this is the first time, and I turned to you and I said it, this is the first time I'm like, oh no, the Steelers might not finish positive.
No, and to me, the Steelers won't this season. I said at the beginning of the year, there's a reason Mike Tomlin's on the hot seat, and I don't fully blame Tomlin. He's doing the best he can with the team he has. There was multiple times in that game where Najee had an open lane and cut into the lineman.
That's what he does, baby.
He is Trent Richardson right now.
The hardest Trent Richardson he could ever do.
Oh, it's just, I think he's going for the broken tackle record.
I love it.
Like, I heard that earlier in the week, and I'm like, I think that might be true. I don't understand what he's doing.
What about the Bengals?
Browning's playing out of his mind. And that's what we're talking about with backup quarterbacks, having a guy who's competent back there.
A few weeks ago, you had the take, is Jake Browning better than Joe Burrow, or is Joe Burrow just a product of the system? And I laughed in your face, but
it makes you question when you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd to throw to. It makes life a lot easier as a quarterback.
It also is like we didn't get to see full Joe Burrow before the Jamar Chase because he got hurt his rookie year.
Yeah.
Like, who really is Joe Burrow without Jamar Chase? We haven't really seen that guy.
We don't see it often. We're going to see the Jake Browning without Jamar Chase this week.
Yeah.
And this is going to be the litmus test.
So where are we betting? Where are we putting our money in this game?
For me, I'm putting it on Tyler Boyd. I'm taking him over 33.5 yards, mainly because Chase is out. Boyd gets into the slot. Boyd plays 82% of the snaps out of the slot, even with Jamar Chase out. Pittsburgh gives up the 5th most yards to slot receivers in the league.
What about Higgins? Higgins was getting targets, and he scored
Higgins
twice.
will get fed.
Okay.
It's just his line was a little high to me. I know Pittsburgh with their banged-up secondary and banged-up linebackers, honestly.
You see the hole with
I see Boyd going over the middle of the field. I think that works better for him. And 33.5 yards. I mean, he's hit that 9 out of 14 games this season. He's consistent.
I looked this line straight in the eye, and I said, you can't bet the Steelers. I understand Steelers. They're dead. They're dead.
They're starting Mason Rudolph this week.
It's a Mason Rudolph game, Dio. Why are you betting the Steelers? And right before I clicked enter, I went, just ride with the Bengals. And I picked the Bengals. Bengals minus 1.5. It's a bit of a favorite. I know. I'm taking them anyway. Don't care.
No, it feels like the smart pick in this. It feels like a lot of the Steelers are just, they understand the season's done. They don't have a playoff run.
The locker room's probably gone. Mike Tomlin's probably gone. If I'm the Chargers,
I hope Tomlin's not gone. Honestly, like if he's gone, a team needs to pick him up immediately. His coaching record stands right next to Bill Cowher. He has more wins, less losses, and a Super Bowl.
If I'm the Chargers, Mike Tomlin's the first hire.
100%
over Bill Belichick. That's he knows how to build a culture.
He does.
Bills versus Chargers. I mean, we just talked about the Chargers. They just had one of the worst beatdowns we've ever seen. Don, congratulations for hitting that over. It's one of your best bets. I picked the under. One of
Never hit it over
ever.
before halftime that aggressively. It was crazy.
It was one of those bets where you're like, wow, this is...
I should have put my entire life savings on this bet.
Bills smashing the Cowboys. Absolutely. Dog walking them.
Yep.
12.5 is the line, and I'm laying the number. 12.5 doesn't feel enough.
It doesn't. Chargers have given up on the season, it feels like. You have Easton Stick. I think he has a decent game. His line, I think, right now is 180 or 280 passing yards. He's gonna have to throw the ball out of his mind. I am not scared of the Chargers. Even though, like, you have the typical game. After a coach gets fired, the team rallies. This doesn't, the locker room and what's coming out of the reports, this team doesn't feel like it's there. They're dead for the season.
I love gambling on teams when they're like getting a new coach and they're like, all right, here's the hype. I hate when they do it at the end of the season because that means the team's already done. People are already looking at vacations. People are like Austin Eckler, like, all right, where am I playing next year? You know, it's this team is going to look vastly, vastly different next year.
And to me, it showed how much Herbert put on his back.
Dude, for all the people that are like, Herbert was bad.
He wasn't the issue with this team.
Go watch these next 3 weeks of football and tell me, oh, wow, Herbert was bad.
The only big change, Keenan Allen out last week, which is huge. But the only big change from what's going to happen the next few weeks versus the entire season, Herbert and Mike Williams not there.
Yeah.
That's the biggest adjustments to that offense.
Guy,
and Mike Williams is 50-50.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like him. Some people do. This was Herbert putting the entire team and forcing them into wins when the team obviously was not ready to be there.
Bills minus 12.5 right now?
Oh, easy.
What's the highest we'll take? My number's 15.5.
I was going to say 14.5, but so right around there.
Okay. Cowboys versus Dolphins. This is one of those games I had to add. It's not a primetime game. It just feels like this should have been the flexed Sunday night game.
This really should have.
They didn't. They couldn't do it.
Yeah.
They didn't want to do it. We're going to talk about the Sunday night game soon. Cowboys off a huge loss.
Yes.
Dolphins shown that they're the Dolphins.
30-0. 30-0.
They scare the living crud out of me.
Yeah, I can see why.
I love the over. I feel like this is
Sure.
points. I don't care that it's 50.5. I'm laying the number. I love the over. This is one of my best bets of the week.
Okay.
I love it.
For me, I'm taking the Dolphins -1.5 in this. The Cowboys do not worry me at the moment, mainly because they are not a good underdog team.
Where are they? Are they in?
They're in Miami.
That's yeah. I love it.
They're playing on. I think Cowboys should be on the road for this one.
Cowboys
Miami
suck on the road.
Yeah, in their last five, Miami's only allowing 13.8 points. They're averaging 2.6 turnovers per game. A big reason to that is Jalen Ramsey coming back from his injury.
So good.
And him and Howard have just become a lockdown 1-2 combo. Dallas, on the other hand, 0-3 this season against the spread as being an underdog. So 0-3.
Yeah, I know. I think
record.
I bet them every single time.
Dolphins 8-2 against the spread this season. Like they
Very good team.
very dominant,
Told you, I'm
especially at
very
home.
scared of them.
Yeah, they're a very terrifying team.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next game. It's the Sunday night game, Christmas Eve game. Patriots versus Broncos. Broncos are -6.5 favorites as of right now. Patriots are another one of those teams that you're like, are they dead yet? Do they still have some give? Broncos are like, we're trying to get into playoffs.
Yeah,
In
they're
the-
sitting right outside.
in an AFC wild card that is just probably the most violent I've ever seen it. Everyone is like, one loss. A team is going to go 10-7 and not make the playoffs.
Which to me is I like that
That's
idea.
crazy.
Like I'm not a fan of the 7th seed personally.
I
I
love it.
because it will. I love it for competitive AFC. It's great. The NFC, the idea that we could get 2 teams out of the NFC South, like they shouldn't happen.
I like bad football.
It's
Iowa was like my most bet team this year in college football. I like watching
yeah,
bad
that's
football.
true.
Sometimes.
That's true. For this one, I'm taking Bailey Zappi to throw at least 1 interception. He's thrown 4 in the last 5 games. He just has the weirdest read. I think it's just sometimes it feels like he just sees something the rest of us don't, and it does not work out. He has just some gross passes. Denver, like you said, they're aggressive. Vance Joseph got embarrassed last week by the Detroit, and they're going to go hard on trying to get into that last playoff spot, and this defense will step up.
I think they're going to push. I think it's Broncos -6.5, and I'm taking Javonte Williams to get into the end zone. I think they're going to try to get into this team. I think they're going to get to a lead, and they're going to start running this ball. Javonte Williams at rushing yards, I think it's 53.5 right now.
Love it.
I can check it again. I think the longest I'll take it is about 65. Anything around that number is where I'm going to start going under. If you can get it around 60, 58, I'd take the over. I really think they're going to run the rock.
Denver, last 3 games, not a single team over 500.
Wow.
They are going to get mean coming into playoffs. They're going to get that ball rolling.
That's dangerous.
That is.
Let's move on to 3. We got 3 Christmas games.
Which feels like a lot.
I love it. They said, NBA, we know you get this holiday. This is ours. No, the NBA is like, wait.
I'm not a fan. Like, I'm not always the biggest fan of this, just because like we spend a lot.
Are you not a fan of this because your team's playing on Christmas?
No, well, we have the Christmas night game, which it makes it harder for me because that's typically eating dinner. That's the holidays, spending time with family. I'm gonna have my phone at the dinner table, and I don't like that feeling. I just feel it's rude.
This is on the TV.
I have to watch it.
I'm not even eating dinner. We'll get to that game.
Okay.
Raiders Chiefs to kick off the day. They want me to pick the Chiefs. It's 10 points right now. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I know the Raiders just came off a big win, and this is the most disappointing they're going to be. But I know the Raiders don't have any playoff hopes. I know the only thing that's going to keep this organization happy is beating division rivals. Do I think they beat the Chiefs? No. Do I think they cover 10? Absolutely hammer Raiders plus 10.
Does Isaiah Pacheco coming back and being healthy for the Chiefs change anything?
No, because I think Josh Jacobs is back.
He hasn't logged a full practice, I think, this week yet.
I think it's a Monday game. I think
it's a Monday.
Even if he doesn't play, they've shown me that they have the offense to go. They're clearly getting more and more creative, and I know the Chargers had virtually quit, but they've had an extra long time of rest. It was last Thursday they played. They get to play a Monday game. It's kind of almost a damn bye week. I like the Raiders a lot.
I'm riding with
lot.
it as well.
Let's go,
I was
buddy.
just curious on your opinion of Pacheco there. Just needed that quick check.
I like
Because
it.
it feels weird taking the Raiders to cover on the Chiefs. It's just not a feeling I'm used to.
This is an ugly game, and I'm happy it's the afternoon game because it's usually around this time I'm traveling
Yes.
from like house to house. Giants, Eagles, and all right, the Danny DeVito. I don't count that as a Danny DeVito loss because he didn't really play. We got to see Tyrod Taylor.
Tommy.
Tops. He's Danny DeVito. He's locked in as Danny DeVito. That's who I see.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
I understand how you see him.
Yeah, that's he's Frank from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Just for anyone who doesn't know,
Yeah.
we're talking Tommy DeVito, quarterback
Yeah.
for the Giants.
Danny DeVito. Yeah, agree to disagree. They lost, and I knew it. I knew the second I was jumping on the Giants wagon, they were going to disappoint me. And fair,
Yeah.
I get the burn. Whatever, that's fine. But the Eagles, I vouch for you guys again, man. I thought you guys were going to be there for me, and you weren't.
The Eagles are losing 3 straight now. Hurts looked rough. I don't know what is up with this team.
The
but
Eagles
they look
have
bad.
4 plays. It's quarterback draw, handoff to Swift, wide receiver screen, and then just chuck it. Those are the 3 plays in the book.
Yeah.
And it's not working. You know why? Because we took their offensive coordinator. Shout out Saint Steichen, coach of the year.
I was
Shout
like
out,
maybe
my boy.
5 if you want to count the tush push.
They don't even do that anymore because Travis Kelce be moving the ball too early. And
Or
gets him out of
Jason,
position.
yeah.
Kelce, yeah.
Oh my goodness, with the false starts, like how are you out of all people?
Hall of Fame center. Maybe one of the best of all time.
Yeah, and just shot him in the foot way too many times in that Seattle game.
I like the Eagles under team under at 27.5. I think
Yeah.
Vegas is like they're gonna get in a get back spot. I think the Giants defense is gritty. I think they can hold them to under 27.5. That's 4 touchdowns. I think it's going to be around 24 points.
Sure.
But I can also, I mean, they couldn't score against Seattle, and that's a banged up defense.
Yeah, Seattle's secondary is wide open.
I think this could be an ugly game. It's going to be a cold game. Give me the Eagles total under 27.5.
Sure, I could see the path there. For
Yeah.
me, I'm taking Jalen Hurts over 36.5 rushing yards.
Seems like he's rushing all the time.
It feels like he is. He's averaging 45.2 rushing yards in the last 5 weeks.
I love
And that's including against the 49ers was his
Yeah.
down game with that. But other than the 49ers game, he's always cleared 30 rushing yards for the last few games. He's basically, he has to scramble because the passing volume is not there. I don't understand.
It's just not getting creative in the back
It's just
end.
not
the routes,
creative.
The routes are just like streaks and slants. Like
But
that's
you
all they're
have
doing.
2 of the most talented wide receivers in the league.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm not saying he's completely bad. I still like Jalen Hurts a lot. But, like, there are moments where you're like, man, this is bad. And his, like, average yards per attempt are at the exact same level as Zach Wilson's. Like, there's something clearly happening.
Yeah.
I think the Niners figured out how to stop this Eagles defense a few weeks ago, or offense a few weeks ago.
I'd say the defense is easy to figure out. Matt Patricia's calling plays.
Matt Patricia's bad. Like,
He's bad.
there was no secret to that. When his father fired and Bill Belichick, he was just like, all right, I guess I'm going to go call plays for the Eagles. Now check this out, boys.
Oof.
How have people not realized that Bill Belichick just sends spies to other teams to destroy the franchise?
I just think Bill Belichick's that much of a genius that he could have random bad coordinators.
I think he has
And
them. He's
he
like,
just-
I will make you a coordinator, but you have to take a solemn devil blood oath with me. And then they're like, you have to be faithful to the Patriot way forever.
I mean, they keep trying to force the Patriot way in other teams, but it's
never-
like you're missing what made the Patriots the Patriots.
Vrabel's like the only one that's worked, and I don't even was he even a coach for the Patriots?
I think he was like a linebacker coach or
Yes.
something along those
Yeah.
lines.
Ravens, Niners, night game, primetime game, best game of the year, potentially.
We'll see. I'm worried about this game.
Oh, you're worried about?
Well,
this game.
no. Outside of fandom,
Mm-hmm.
right now the 49ers are 5-0 against bird teams this season.
So remember we talked about the bird gauntlet.
The bird gauntlet.
This is
The 49ers are the only team that I've ever I recall off the top of my head that have run the bird gauntlet this well.
no one's ever won all of them. I don't think.
And
I don't think they play all the bird teams. I think they missed one this year.
they did 2 against Seattle, 2 against the Cardinals,
missed
Eagles.
Atlanta.
They missed Atlanta. That's the only one that they haven't touched. Which possible playoff question mark?
Nah, that team's dead. 5.5.
Yeah,
5.5 is a number.
That is, well, it makes sense. The 49ers are playing at home. The biggest weak spot in the Ravens defense this season has been stopping the run. That is, I will vouch for that. That has been our issue with a lot of these games. And McCaffrey's averaging 118 on the ground this season.
You think that's your biggest issue on the team?
I think that's our biggest defensive issue.
What's your biggest issue on the team? Let's say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Running
Consistent
back
receiver.
Oh,
No, running back health too, but
it's just offense.
It's just
offense.
Well, because we get these splash plays, and we could get Nelson Aguilar to do something. We have Isaiah Likely stepping up in a big way.
Did you see Keaton Mitchell's knee implode?
I cannot. I accidentally saw the image today.
Yeah,
and I wanted to throw up. I feel so bad for that kid.
It's
like
at this
he was
point,
having a Cinderella story.
At this point, it's impressive how many running backs are just going down in Baltimore.
It's just I don't understand.
I think
what's in the water right now.
I think it's Lamar. I think Lamar is poisoning his running backs to show the world like he's like I can do both. Like I think that's what's happening.
Kenyon Drake and Melvin Gordon last season, not an issue.
Yeah, because they're Kenyon Drake and Melvin Gordon. Like,
that was our starting running backs last year.
Gross.
And like Melvin Gordon's back this year. We just activated him off the practice squad.
Oh, that's so cool! Congrats with your Melvin Gordon activation.
It terrifies me. We have Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, and Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, Justice Hill's going to get a lot more reps now.
He's going to get 60% of the snaps and maybe get 12 yards.
Give me the Ravens plus 5.5. Take it.
For me, I'm taking a cop out. I'm taking Isaiah Likely over 35.
Spineless coward. Stay with your team.
No, I am going to bet the money line on my team. Don't get me wrong, but I'm thinking if I'm putting out a bet to the people, I'm putting out a bet that I'm like I recommend for other teams, like other people to take Isaiah Likely over 35.5 receiving yards.
Ravens are going to be on our pray for the parlay.
Oh.
Ravens are going to be on our pray for the parlay.
Okay.
I have a special pray for the parlay cooked up. You haven't even heard about it.
I haven't. No, you told me not to worry about it.
Yeah.
But no, I like Likely. He stepped up 3 weeks in a row now, covering this line ever since Andrew went down. They are going to have to pass this ball. Lamar is going to need to at least, in my mind, 20 completions to stay in this game. Likely is going to have a good size volume.
I like it. Let's move on to Bust of the Week. It's where we go through and we tell you who busted the hardest. And yes, I mean it like that. I'm going with the NFC East, the entire division. They all lost. They're all bad. I get it. They're supposed to be these premier teams. The Giants, the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Commanders. All these premier franchises, top 10 franchises that all just suck all the time. And I'm tired of watching them.
It's rough.
When all 4 of your teams lose, you end up in the bust category. Congratulations, you guys suck. Don?
For me, I'm taking the Falcons. You gave Chris Tabor his first win of the season, which, how do you lose that kind of game with the Panthers? You don't give Bijan the rock. Like, I understand he had 7 carries for 12 yards and a fumble, but you didn't trust him. You were clearly putting him on account. I don't understand what Arthur Smith's vendetta against Bijan is.
No one does.
Like Drake London didn't even get a target in the first half.
I want him fired.
No, and this is why they fall into this category.
He's getting into Ryan Day status for me.
This is why I think the Falcons fall in this category in my mind right now. Is this like the issues with
Don, you know how many people I told about the Falcons?
Kyle Pitts, the issues with Drake London have been all season. That's nothing new.
I moved the Falcons line to -6.5.
Yeah.
I
felt confident in that
told
game.
everyone in the world, go Falcons, go Falcons.
Because we had the glimmer of hope from the game prior where they actually used their weapons, and they looked amazing.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
But
fool me 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, it's still shame on me. I'm the idiot. It's my fault. And you know what? I'm not even going to blame Arthur Smith. This is me. I'm the idiot. From now on to the end of the season. No. Until Arthur Smith is fired or shows me significant change, I am taking an oath. I hope that you follow me. I'm not betting on the Falcons anymore. I'm done.
This is where I fall in with this team. Even the ownership, they've been questioned. Is Arthur Smith going to be around next season? Is he going to be like a head coach to the end of the year?
They came out and said his job's not.
No, the ownership was 50-50 on it. They waffled the question. It wasn't, yes, he's still here, and it wasn't, no, he's not. It was, well, the season didn't go the way that we planned, so we'll see and we'll evaluate at the end of the year. It's like, that is the most BS cop-out. You have fans that want this man's head on a stick right now. You need to listen to the locker room. You need to listen to your fan base and make the adjustments to get this to be a winning team. You have too much talent to be wasting it in this way.
We're going to go to the Gold Star of the Week. This goes to the athlete, the player, the coach, the event that deserves a little gold star. Gets a nice little gold star, a little sticker. We're going to mail it to you. You're going to love it. This week's gold star recipient, Giannis Antetokounmpo from me. I think he's as silent as a NBA MVP, world champion, finals MVP can be. He's actually having a career year. He dropped his career high in points last week.
Yeah.
He had to fight an entire organization for a ball back.
I mean, I understand why why the team took it.
Yeah.
Because it was the rookie's first ever basket. And it was the first ball.
He scored 2 points.
I mean,
Giannis scored 65.
Yeah, no, I understand why both teams wanted that ball. In my mind,
It was like 63, but yeah.
in my mind, I don't understand. The minute you saw Giannis was on that pace, switch out the balls.
Yeah,
Get a special ball that Giannis can put up the 65th on, so that way, the minute he breaks his career high, case it, throw it in the back. No one can touch it.
More than that, Giannis is just having a spectacular season.
Without a doubt.
I don't want it to go unnoticed. He's fantastic, and yeah, maybe I do own him in my fantasy basketball league, and that has something to do with it. But you know what? Sue me. I'm not perfect. Giannis, I love you, man. Gold star for you. Don?
For me, I'm taking Baker Mayfield, like we talked about him briefly earlier.
What?
No,
What?
It's mainly because I saw this come out, and I never knew this stat existed. First ever opposing player to go in the Lambeau and put up a perfect passer rating in
What?
the history of the NFL. No quarterback facing Green Bay and Lambeau has had a perfect passer rating. There's only been 3 quarterbacks in the history of the Packers playing at home. There's only been, now 4 if you add Baker, that have gotten a perfect passer rating.
How many are Aaron Rodgers?
You just have, it's mainly a lot of Rodgers. It's
Okay,
almost
so
it's
I know
a lot of
Brett
Rodgers.
Favre wasn't doing a lot of perfect passer ratings.
No, but
that's
it
why.
wasn't. And he's also the third Buck to ever put up one. You have Craig Erickson and Brady, and now
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, all in the same sentence.
Love it.
Good for that kid.
We're going to call an audible on this next segment. We're going to push it to next week.
Sure.
It's a fun one. We'll move it to next week. Give you guys a little hint. We're going to talk about some players that should or shouldn't get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, end of the season, this is where we're going to start having these discussions.
Yeah.
If you have any picks or any guys that you want to discuss, let us know.
Yeah. We're going to move on to pick 6. We're going to give you our 6 best bets of the week. I'm going to start.
Sure.
I'm going to give you my annual Colts pick. They keep hitting these overs. They keep hitting team totals. But most of all, they're pretty good against the spread. And when they're underdogs, they're really hitting the spread.
Yeah.
I know it's only 1.5. But you just heard how much I hate the Falcons and Arthur Smith. That means they're going to win.
I'm taking the Colts as well on this one. That was like my first
Don,
pick.
I'm
Colts.
telling you right now, you got to bet the Falcons.
Colts are the only team in the league right now that's undefeated against the spread. They're perfect 5-0. Falcons announced Taylor Heineke's taking the start. The Colts are looking good. We're either going to have Zach Moss back fully healthy, or we're going to have Jonathan Taylor. They're both up in the air. But if either one of these guys come back, this team is going to be invigorated. I love the Colts in this position.
It's a perfect setup. I said the Colts are going to win the division and make the playoffs, so we're going to go 3-0, and I meant that. And then I also meant Arthur Smith is terrible, and I'm not going to bet on that team anymore. And, of course, one of my best bets is the Colts, which is setting me up for the biggest loss of my entire life, not only on the season, but against the Falcons, a team that I hate.
Honestly,
Don,
I'm not too concerned.
I can't beg you more enough to bet the Falcons, to just take the money.
I'll put the money down if you want. That's fine.
I'm betting the Colts.
Yeah, but I like the Colts pick
All right,
a lot.
just ride with me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like the Colts
you know
pick
what?
a lot in this situation.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
Yeah,
All right.
everything
Colts.
everything is telling me Colts in this
We're
game.
gonna lose. I'm also taking the Packers -4.5. I like the Packers -4.5 a lot. I know last week they disappointed the hell out of me, but they're playing the Panthers now. The Panthers can't win back to back, right? The Panthers can't cover back to back.
I don't think they do.
And if they do, I'll
We'll worry about it later. We'll worry about it then.
I'll cry. Don, what's your pick?
I'm taking Minnesota +3 against the Lions. Detroit in their last 4 road games. They have, in every road game for the last 4, have allowed over 28 points. 2 out of those 4 road games, they've allowed over 38 points. Mm-hmm. Do you know what teams they've played on the road?
No.
Baltimore, which over 38. That's
Good
an
team.
outlier. The only team in the top 10 in offensive categories. Mm-hmm. Then it was the Chargers,
Bad.
the Bears, and the Saints.
What Bears? Wait, if it's September Bears, they're bad.
Yeah, September. We're talking about 2-3 weeks ago Bears.
That's not September Bears. That's 2-3
November
weeks ago.
Bears.
That was the not Justin Fields Bears.
Not
so
Justin
probably
Fields
still bad.
Bears,
Yeah,
and put up over 28 points on them. This defense has fallen apart in recent weeks. They are in shambles. Minnesota's getting JJ back. Well, got JJ back last week. The offense is a lot more balanced.
Nick Mullins slings it.
Nick Mullins is just he just chucks it. He doesn't care. He's
what you
there to
want out
throw
of
the
a
deep
backup
ball.
quarterback. Shout out backup
And
quarterbacks.
Madison's coming back healthy, but even then, Ty Chandler looked great in the backfield. He has that explosive element to this team.
That's a guy I was drafting in fantasy football. That's a guy who's on my dynasty roster. I love finding these little running backs
You
that
can
I
see
know
why.
can smash people in the face. I love Ty Chandler. I loved what he was doing in college. Give me Ty Chandler. I think he's so much fun. I might take a Ty Chandler touchdown prop.
That's not a bad one. I think
I like
Minnesota keeps up.
I like it. I'm taking the Bears -4.5 against the Cardinals. This is a sole pick based on one of my best friends going to the game with his family.
Yeah.
It's his first time at Soldier Field. I don't have analytics for this, but I'm not an analytics guy. You don't listen to me because I'm giving you that. You listen to me because I listen to the gods. I listen to the football gods, and I play the game. I look at it straight and sideways, and upside down. They're not going to lose for my friend. They would never. The Bears would never disappoint my friend, who's a Bears fan of long time love. They would never do that. Bears -4.5.
Oh my goodness! I'm taking the Rams and Saints under 46. I just worry about the Saints scoring way too much here. Rams defense have stepped up. They are an intimidating force over the last few weeks. They've kept up with the Ravens, and they've been able to just shut out everyone else since the bye. I think the Rams here are the only team that's scoring more than 10.
Okay.
I don't think the Saints score. The Saints are going to have to kick field goals to keep up. That's it. They have no red zone offense left. The Rams' best part of their defense is shutting down the run. You remove Kamara out of there and turn him into solely a receiver, even with Chris Olave back, does not worry me. And especially with Derek Carr battling as many injuries as he has this season. I don't know if you saw the shade that Derek Carr threw at Michael Thomas.
I saw that. That was crazy. Slant boy.
Well, he literally bought, Rolexes for Raheed Shaheed and for Chris Olave, and then just didn't get Michael Thomas anything.
Because Mike Thomas is not going to be on the team next year.
He's not, but that changes up a locker room element in a big way.
I have one more bet. That's in pro football. Jets versus Commanders under 37.5. The Commanders are dead. It sounds like it might be a Jacoby Brissett game. The Jets, I don't care if Aaron Rodgers is coming back. He's not coming back this game.
He's not coming back this season. Saleh came out and said they're activating Rodgers onto the 53-man roster for rehab purposes only. He is not going to see a start as of now. I think, as of the 19th of December.
37.5. I'm taking that under. I don't know if these teams could score 17 each, and that's what they got to do to hit it.
Yeah.
Not doing it. Go.
For me, I'm taking the Jets -3 in this game. I think the defense shuts down too well. Even if it is a Trevor Siemian game, which it looks like it will be.
It's probably going to be a Trevor Siemian game.
To me, Jets, they're 4-1-1 against Washington. The Commanders have only covered once in their last 5, and they've lost all 5 of those games outright. This is just going to be a very rough game for the Commanders who've just given up. Brian Robinson is not trending in the right direction health-wise, so it's going to be Antonio Gibson, who did not see a lot of work.
Fumble King, too. The original Fumble King.
Yeah, he just has some weird ones once in a while.
Doesn't love the ball.
And I just think the Jets defense carries him in this game.
Do you have any more NFL ones?
I have the rest of mine. I'm not.
Okay.
I figured you would handle college for us this week.
Rattle off the last 2 NFL.
The last 2 is I have Dolphins Cowboys under 51 here.
Oh, okay. So
I
you
buried
hate
the
me.
lead on this.
Okay.
I had it from the beginning.
It's one of my
hard to
favorite
hear.
bets of the week, and you just smiled like the little devil you are.
Yeah. Cowboys this season as underdogs are
Dead
averaging
bet.
14.3 points, twice only putting up 10 against Buffalo and SF. Including last season, they only averaged 16 points as dogs over 8 games, 3-5 record, and they're 2-4 on the road as dogs. I just don't trust Dallas. I think they got exposed last week, and this is what is going to happen when you have Miami's defense playing as well as it does.
I think they can't. There's no world where Dak Prescott can be bad 2 weeks in a row like that. I don't think he's into it.
We'll see. I think the biggest thing that worries me is Miami dropping another 30. And if they can do
I think
that,
they
then
can.
I think then they definitely can.
Yeah.
they've proved they could. If it was, without Tyreek Hill, they put up 30 against Sauce Gardner.
Yeah.
And Waddle just torching teams.
Dude, 42 is like a real thing they can hit every week.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And that intimidates the heck out of me on this line.
It scares me too.
But I don't see Dallas putting up much, so it's basically, does Miami want to run up the score?
Miami somehow getting the 1 seed would be catastrophic to the AFC. Because going to Miami where it's not cold, they can play their brand of football.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to win. Miami going to like a Buffalo, a Kansas City, a team that like is in the cold, or even like having to travel. It just feels like that's where you can catch a Miami.
That's where you have a shot at.
Yeah.
Them.
You got one more NFL?
My last NFL is I'm taking Tanner Hudson over 2.5 receptions.
Who?
For those of you who do not know, backup tight end on the Cincinnati Bengals.
Speak your truth, buddy.
We're
You took a Tyler Boyd bet against the Steelers, and now you're taking Tyler Hudson.
Tanner Hudson. Yes,
Hudson.
I am. Because
Cool.
Minka Fitzpatrick is looking to be out this game.
Okay.
Their linebackers in Pittsburgh are just injured to hell at this point.
Yep.
I am taking who gets over the middle of the field the most.
He does these like weird little third downs. They'll put him in instead of Joe Mixon or Chase Brown. Well, Chase Brown's starting to get back in more, where he'll like block and then he'll just fade out and then he'll catch those balls.
And that's what we're
Yeah.
going for on this one. He has covered this line in 6 of the last 7 games he's played. Not all 7 have been this season because he is a backup guy. He has hit over this line in every game he's touched the field this season.
Wow.
He has hit it since week 9. He's
Taking that with you.
also since week 9 seeing 31% of the target share per route run.
Love it.
When he's on the field, they use him. They develop plays specifically with him in mind. I like him over the middle of the field. He's a strong tight end.
I'm going to go with James Madison minus 2.5 against Air Force.
Yeah.
I talked about it last week. I think James Madison is going to show why the NCAA, why they were allowed to go to a bowl game, why they are going to be a really fun franchise or fun college to watch for years to come now that they're playing with the big dogs. And I like Utah minus 6.5 against Northwestern. I actually love it. This is my favorite bet of the week. Utah gets Cam Rising. He's coming back for one more year. So that means they're going to get most of their guys. They're not losing a ton of guys to the draft.
Yeah.
This is an experienced team against a Northwestern team that really shouldn't have been playing in a bowl game. They kind of lucked out a couple wins. If they didn't play in such a bad division, they probably wouldn't have won enough games to get in the
They skated in. It really felt like it.
Utah's a good team. They have fantastic wins. They're experienced, great head coach, and it's in their backyard in Vegas. Give me Utah.
Love it.
Don, our parlay is a little different this week.
Yeah, you developed something on the side.
I call it the best friends parlay.
Okay.
We're taking the Colts money line,
Sure.
and we're taking the Ravens money line.
All right.
That's plus 475.
I love it.
It's very, very simple. You just have to watch the Colts win and watch the Ravens win. There's no way we both end up disappointed. Should we hedge? No, we're not going to hedge. We would never do that. Colts, Ravens, pray for the parlay. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of Bust Picks. My name's Dio.
Don right here. And
And don't forget, pray for the parlay.